Welcome to my third video on Town of Salem. This video is after the ELO freeze. So the ranked queues are a little bit screwy right now. It's incredibly difficult to find any sort of high ELO game because a lot of the high ELO players um, either quit or are taking a break um, because of the ELO quote unquote fix that happened a couple weeks back. And now that ELO is not changing at all, ranked is not as fun. Ranked is pretty close to ranked practice at this point, except that theoretically the people you're playing against are going to be your skill level. Is also when the spy changes happen. So right now, spy is in a pretty terrible spot, in that it can only see mafia visits. It can't look at whispers, and it can't see mafia chat at night. Um, in my opinion, I think spy just kind of needs to be removed from the game because BMG has stated that they don't want the whisper mechanic to exist because it makes it too easily confirmable. But the night mafia chat does something similar if there's ever any other spies in the game. But you can do something similar with mediums. I think it's in a terrible spot right now. Either you need to change it so that a spy can still see mafia chat at night, or you need to just remove spy from the game because it's just too passive. I mean, not only is it bad, it's just too passive right now. And in that sense, it's a little bit similar to Retributionist, which also needs to be reworked. Because I mean, it's incredibly powerful, but it's also just boring as hell to play. If I continue playing, because I don't know if I'm going to continue playing because of all the rank changes that I'm seeing, which is just making the game fairly uncompetitive as it stands right now. If I continue playing, I'll probably upload even splits of Town and Mafia or Evils. I mean, I'm not gonna pick and choose one more than the other, but picking and showing town rules isn't all that useful because playing as a town rule is pretty formulaic no matter which town rule you are. And the general scheme for a town role is to use your role at night, don't do stupid things, obvious things like don't visit a confirmed vet, and just vote for roles in scum read. That's pretty much it. Honestly, what role you are doesn't really matter in a lot of different scenarios. So this game I roll Forger. We have any Moth, which means we have a pretty good shot at winning this game, just right off the bat. It doesn't matter who we really attack night one. It's just luck. Like usual, I'm going to make 2 wills right away. I'm going to make one inside my investigative results, so lookout will. And the other one, I'm going to make an actually useful will, which is transporter. And the reason I'm doing transporter is because we have any mafia, which means it's pretty easy for us to get majority pretty quickly. So I don't need this will to last incredibly long, and because it's such a powerful role, people are going to be much less likely to go against it, to really think it's a scummier role. And I can pretty much say I'm going to transport whoever I want night one, as long as it's not the jailer. Because they'll say they weren't transed, I'll say they were transed, and I'm a bit more believable as a transporter. Unless they're like a confirmed town role, which is unlikely. So we get the lookout kill night one, and we essentially have a 7-on-7 right away. Because I count neutral benign, neutral evil, neutral killing, and mafia all on the same team at the beginning of a game. For all intents and purposes, they're just all scum. And I'm always going to refer to it that way in terms of majority. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to get vote for roll started in case other people want to get it started. But I'm just going to go after someone who looks scummy. Or I shouldn't say scummy. Someone who's active, because Mafia are much more likely to do like VFR things than the neutrals, because the neutrals are kind of on their own. So because this Pikachu guy is like being so active, I figure he's a townie. So I'm like, I don't care if voting for roles actually happens. I just want to make it look like it's going to happen. In case it starts to happen, we just push the vote onto someone who is town. That's how you beat voting for roles. And if he got voted up, pretty much no matter what he claimed, I would push for the lynch. So night 2, I get jailed. And here's where my transporter claim comes in handy. Because this jailer, there's no way he's ever going to execute me. Because if I'm town, he just executed an insanely strong roll claim with, like nothing. Like, Kansas could have just forgotten to say anything, or Kansas could be evil, or the jailer could have just missed it in chat. And the jailer doesn't have that much time to check. So he's going to let me live. And this is just like perfect for any mafia, because I just bought Evil's Another Night. Even if I'm lynched during the day, it's fine. And the funny thing is, I actually even have another night myself, because my will is going to look fine, because I was jailed night 2. So it's just like another day that I don't have to, or another night that I don't have to show like real results. And it's another night that's going to be harder for me to be found out, because I can just play the 50-50 against Kansas. So what happened here, if you didn't see it, is that the vigilante shot 15, or as Will said, he shot 15. The vigilante died to werewolf, and our mafioso traded. So 15 is like pretty much werewolf, which means I'm going to try and push away from the werewolf, because we aren't, with jailer still alive, it's possible that we could still lose majority. And that's all I'm trying to do right now, is just stall until we can buy like one more night, and then we can push on 15. In a perfect turn of events, Profanity goes after me. Clearly a jester play, because I'm Mafia, and I was jailed night 2, so I didn't attack, or I didn't visit Psyduck. So I'm just going to push on Profanity. I know that, he's jester. I'm going to give him the win, and I want to take it away from 15. Because even if 15 is executed tonight, it's a day that Mafia isn't executed. So I'm just pushing on that. And what should happen here is that Town will guilty, and then we'll be fine. If Town was playing this very strategically, what they would do is they would probably inno this and vote 15, because 15 has more kill power. And this is like, quote unquote, confirmed jester. Because if evils have the any, Town pretty much loses no matter what. Okay? And at a certain point, you just have to say, or if evils have the any, you have to say, if evils have the any, we're going to lose. Town is going to lose. And you just have to take that risk. Because by hanging this, you're essentially trading, and it's possible that you give, the killing rolls more time. You let in more chance for a mafia win. And this is the same thing that's happening with not executing me. If he executes me and any isn't mafia and I'm town, it really reduces town's chances of winning. But if he executes me and any is mafia, like, you pretty much still kind of lose. So it's way more beneficial and way less risky to not execute me. So our context says Kissy is ret. I think he means Kansas. And all I did here was I looked back in chat and I looked at a quiet guy who was voting because I figured that's the jailer, which is 5 in this case. And the reason I think 5 is jailer, so my options were basically 3, 4, 5, and then whatever Kansas is, and Pikachu. 3 is a non-voter, non-talker, not doing anything. Jimmy is a non-talker, but he's voting. He's voting with town. Kansas doesn't really seem bright enough to actually be this person, and because our context said Kissy was the ret, even though Kissy is not ret, because Kansas was actually the ret, but that's fine. It wouldn't matter. We didn't want to kill the ret anyway because the ret's going to get his res off whether we attack him now or not. And Pikachu is just loud and obnoxious, so there's no way he's jailer. Jailers don't do that. If this is a higher level game, jailers would do that because town is a little bit better at hiding what they are. And yeah, 5 turns out to be jailer. So I made the right call. It was between him and Tubby, really. And yeah, I made the right call. And Tubby may have claimed medium at this point. I don't even remember. But 10 claims Retry, which he is. But we're going to get him voted anyway. And I just want to make sure that we get the lynch on him because it's possible that MB doesn't want to vote with us and then things could get slightly hairy depending on whatever, if 11 is something crazy, which I don't think he is based on the investigator will. But better be on the safe side, right? In terms of what Town did and what Town should have done, because this game is, pretty much over at this point. Just going down the list, Blue, starting from the graveyard. So Blue didn't really have any opportunity to do anything. Light did his job. He traded. That's why Bodyguard is kind of a stupid role, because if you do your role well, you don't live. Psyduck actually made a really good play. He attacked Werewolf, or he shot Knight 2, which, and he was Mafia. It was a good play. Unfortunately for him, he hit the Werewolf, which really just helped us. He also died. Kissy could have done better at posting his will and outing the consig a little earlier, but the consig was fairly safe just by claiming invest. It's an RT claim, but the likelihood of there being consig isn't terribly high, especially now that you see Jimmy's will is forged. Quick back to the game. I want 4 or 11 dead because 3 just looks like NB based on the abstain on the voting because he didn't vote guilty or innocent. Pikachu just made a mistake and voted up with us. The jailer did fine. Kansas is the one that really screwed up. He should have revived Night 2. Literally Night 2, he should have revived the Lookout. It may not have changed anything, but it definitely would have been better than not using your roll at all. So that's a common mistake that new players make. It's funny. Strain still thinks that Jailer gave me his name. He didn't. I just scum read or town read. Um, the other thing, going back to the previous day, what you can do as Mafia to push is, at this point, it kind of looks like any is Mafia, or it kind of looked like any is Mafia yesterday. Even 2 days ago, with how votes were sort of leaning. And this is something that with play you just kind of get a feel for. Like, if votes tend to be slower, information isn't flowing as fast, it just seems like the town is like going through molasses. What you can do as Mafia is just, you can like put pressure on based on that. So like, really all we were garnering for was the NB vote, but like a town vote would have worked with a mistake, which is what Pikachu happened, like on the ret. And so I just put pressure on it and say we don't have time for him to res, because if I was town and he was Mafia, we wouldn't have had time. And ret's actually a good scum claim a lot of the time. And a decent ret would have already revived. So I can just put pressure on and say we don't have time for him to say anything, and then I just immediately CC town support, which is what I was going to do anyway with my transporter. And then I don't know if it was the Godfather or the Consig, but they just follow me up and say they also CC TS. There's the 2 CCs. That's all you need. And we get him on the stand, and then it becomes an easy win. And then we didn't really even need the neutral vote because we had the 3-2. So this just goes back to how to beat sort of like a voting for role style thing. As Mafia, the way you don't just say I'm not going to vote for roles and like silently sit there and watch your Mafia members and scum members die one by one. You just play the town. You can get evils killed as long as they're not your evils, right? So like, I pushed on an evil. I just pushed on the jester so that the werewolf wasn't lynched, so that the werewolf was jailed, and so a Mafia wasn't jailed. Even straight up day 2, I know we have any Mafia. Even if we didn't have any Mafia, it really wouldn't have mattered. We still kind of want to do the same thing. You're going to push on someone who's like kind of clearly town, but like annoying. Because what if they're jester? I mean, they're not, but what if they are? And you just push that, whatever he claims, just have a Mafia member like CC it. Maybe 2 of them CC it. You get a neutral CCing somewhere in there, and you've got an easy kill. And you just kind of steamroll these, and then if he ends up being innocent, then get the CC, and then you just like say the CC that isn't your Mafia, or you say the CC that's a townie. You just like slowly push your way all the way up. You don't have to just like defy VFR. You just use it yourself. Sometimes it's not going to work. Like, sometimes it's going to be bad for you, and that's fine. That's going to happen. And on that note, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.